Hi everybody, Buzzsaw Gaming here, and just want to show my Sega Dreamcast collection. Now, like my other collections, it's a small collection. I only have 20 games. So it's my top 20 games. These are the games that I keep that don't fill up the shelf too much and are important to me that I like. In the background, that haunting music is from the video game D2. So it's a survival horror game on the Sega Dreamcast. And this is an interesting console. I mean, this represents the end of Sega. My time with it at the time, I didn't even know about the Sega Dreamcast until it was basically on its last legs. I saw it for sale for $49.99. And at the time, that's a good deal for a modern system that could also have internet capabilities, could browse the web. So that was still a bit of a novelty at the time, when a computer, would cost $1,000 plus. Your Sega Dreamcast could maneuver around the web a bit. So that was, something that made it very interesting. Also, it's a very unique system. It's very quirky. That's what I like about it. It's, not your cardboard cookie cutter system. Now, before this, I did have a Sega Genesis, and I love that system a lot. That's my favorite Sega system, and then this would be my second. The Sega Saturn, unfortunately, I didn't even know it was out. I didn't even know it was a system when it was relevant. At the time, I lived in a smaller town, and maybe that was the reason, but there was only Nintendo 64 and really the original PlayStation. That was pretty much it. So I didn't hear about the Sega Saturn at all. And the Sega Dreamcast, I only heard about it, right before its deathbed, basically. So that was the end of it, as it got trounced by, Sony's PlayStation 2 and the rest of the 6th generation that came out. But these games are really good. It's a really interesting system. It's unique. It's got its own vibe to it, its own feel to it. As far as the system itself, I have the Black Sports Edition one, which is the one I like. I didn't really like the original kind of off-white color Sega Dreamcast. I like this one better. And also my two controllers are matching. Also the black Sega Sports Sega Dreamcast controllers. Now the controllers, I know some people complain about it, but I really like it actually. It fits well in the hand, and it's a nice controller. And it does have these two little things, VMUs, which have little mini games and are also provide saves for your games. So I have two, I think, charcoal gray or black ones right there as well. And since I don't have this complete in box, what I typically do is I buy the travel case. And here I have the Sega Dreamcast travel case. It's just a really nice case, actually. It fits everything inside, the two controllers, the system, and all that stuff. And it's a really nice ergonomic bag, I would say. So it's a really nice place to put the Dreamcast and, take it somewhere, something like that. And you can see my setup is super simple. I just, it's just plugged in, and then the other wire to the TV, and that's it. I don't complicate things too much. I like it nice and simple. Also, doesn't take a lot of room. So I'll go through my games. As I said before, I have 20 games. I don't have a ginormous, large library. Just a small curated library. But the games I do have, I enjoy. I like a lot. I think they're the best games on the system. Except maybe a couple they're very expensive and they're unattainable. First here is Blue Stinger. That's a unique survival horror type game, and you'll notice a theme that the Sega Dreamcast excels at survival horror. So that's one of the genres that it does, and that's a lot of fun. It's a interesting, unique game for Dreamcast. Next, Four Wheel Thunder. It's just a fun racing game. It's nothing special, but it's for me, it's fun. I kind of like these games that you don't have to think too much and just race around. Revolt. Now this I think is also on Nintendo 64, but I have the Dreamcast version. This basically you control a remote control car. So that's the theme of this one. It's kind of miniaturized, and I like that a lot actually. I like that in video games. As you can see next to it is Toy Commander, which is another game quite similar where everything is miniaturized and you're controlling these small toys inside a kitchen, inside a home, and just it's just a unique genre that I don't think it really exists anymore. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's a nice just game just to play play and relax on an afternoon. Soul Calibur. Now, when this came out, this is revolutionary. This is a great game, great fighting game. Really great graphics. Of course, it's been eclipsed now, but back then, this was amazing. This was, a sight to behold in the graphics, and it was just absolutely beautiful. Really a wonderful game and a lot of fun, and just big sprites, and yeah, really nice. Resident Evil Code Veronica. Now the Dreamcast got its own version of Resident Evil. This one here, Code Veronica. I think it came out on PlayStation 2 later and some other systems, but for quite a while it was exclusive to Dreamcast, and it's a fun survival horror game as well. Then below that, Carrier. Look at that picture. That's quite scary. Basically, you're sent into an aircraft carrier, and that's where the name comes from. And there's been something happened, so you can imagine what happened, right? It's basically a zombie apocalypse inside the aircraft carrier, and it's a lot of fun. It's another really nice survival horror game for the Dreamcast. Unique. I don't think it exists on other systems, and yeah, it's a nice addition to the library. Expendable. Now this is just a silly game. You go around just shooting and blowing things up, but it's a lot of fun. It's got good graphics, kind of a top-down shooter. Sword of the Berserker. Now this is a unique game. I mean, the size of your sword is huge. I mean, it's massive, and it's a nice story, and it's just massive boss battles. And it's a really unique game as well. I really like it. It's a lot of fun. I think it showcases the Dreamcast and what it was capable of doing. And Virtua Tennis. Now you wouldn't think a tennis game as being a top game, but this one is really good. I've always liked it. The graphics are good. The mechanics are really good. It's a really fun tennis game, and it has the tennis people of the time. So it was, a lot of fun as well. Oh, Soul Reaver. I guess it's Legacy K and Soul Reaver. That's another one where it's, kind of mixture of survival horror and just an interesting game where basically you're cast out from this world, and your wings are ripped off and you're thrown in a giant hole, and you gotta figure things out from there. So it's a really cool game, really cool graphics, dark, really interesting as well. Egg Elemental Gimmick Gear. This is a really unique game. I mean, you just don't see games like this anymore. It's really unusual. You kind of have this robot that you're inside, and you're going around this world and figuring things out. It's a really interesting game. It's yeah, I think it's one of the better ones as well on Sega Dreamcast. D2. Now that's the one that's played on the screen right here. Really, it just shows just D2 with its haunting music, but basically you're in an airplane crash, high in the mountains, snow covered, and there's monsters and things all over. So it's a creepy game. It's a lot of fun. It's a double disc. You can see right there. And next is Shenmue, also revolutionary for the time. I don't know how much money Sega spent on this game, but probably way too much. But it's something that just didn't exist at the time. It's also a double disc as well, one of the better games on the Sega Dreamcast. And I think probably everyone knows about it, but it's a wonderful game in my library. Skies of Arcadia, that's a lot of fun as well. It's a kind of a light RPG, I would say. It's you're basically flying around. You're like a good pirate, I guess. So it's a really nice game. I think a revised version was on the GameCube, but I just have it the original. I prefer to have the originals, even though the revised ones might be better. I just like the original. Red Dog. You can't see it too well with the glare, but yeah, just a fun game with a weird ship and you're shooting things. It's a lot of fun, silliness. Sonic Adventure. I mean, this was revolutionary as well at the time. You just didn't see games like this. Sonic. I wasn't the biggest Sonic fan on the Genesis, and I guess on Saturn I didn't really even have a true Sonic game. So Sonic Adventure was a lot of fun, especially like in the opening cinematics when you're running as fast as you can, and there's a killer whale jumping over you. So they did a really good job on this game. It's a lot of fun. I heard the second one is good, and there's some other ones as well that came out later that are also quite good. But I just have the original one here, the original Sonic Adventure. And NFL 2K. Now, I think there was a disagreement between Sega and some other sports makers, as far as sports video game makers. And so they decided to go on their own and make their own sports game, and NFL 2K is a really good game. It's a really top quality sports game. It's a lot of fun. They came out with a couple other ones, I believe. NFL 2001, NFL 2002, something like that as well. And then later the series got bought out and doesn't exist anymore. But back when Dreamcast was relevant, that was a really nice game to have as well. Seaman. This is another, this is the kind of game that you wouldn't see anymore. It's just an unusual pet simulator, I guess. I don't know how to describe it. You have this creature in a bowl, like in a fish tank, and you control the temperature and feeding it and things like that. And this version of it inside here, it has the microphone that attaches to the controller, so you can talk to him and go from there. So there's a lot of fun dialogue that goes back and forth, and it's a really unique game. It's just a pure, Sega Dreamcast. It's something that you wouldn't see anymore these days. It's just completely unique, and yeah, just a fun time. Just a nice, relaxing game. Nothing too serious. I think that's pretty typical of the Sega Dreamcast. It's just relaxing games, arcade fun. Nothing too super serious. Racing games, survival horror games, kind of beat 'em up, shoot 'em games, things like that. And finally, the 28th game, Crazy Taxi. Now this needs no introduction. That was a really fun game that came out at the time. It's a unique concept. The music's really good in it. It's a lot of fun. You're just cruising around and just having a good time, basically picking up passengers and flying through the city, which is completely unrealistic the way it plays out, but it's a video game, and that's what video games are for. Anyways, just thought I'd share my complete Sega Dreamcast collection. Well, complete for me, not a complete set, obviously. And yeah, just 20 games, but they're important to me, and they're interesting, and it's one of those consoles that is really unique. Probably the most unique console in the 6th generation, I would say. It's the end of an era for Sega. It kind of reminds me a lot of the Atari Jaguar. It was the last hurrah for Atari. This is the last hurrah for Sega. So it's makes it more interesting, more sentimental because of that. And yeah, it was just a wonderful time. Can you believe seeing these for sale for $49 back in the day? It's just unheard of when they were clearing them out, and that's when I finally knew about it. I didn't know about the 999, launch date and all that kind of stuff. I had no idea it was around. I was just playing my Nintendo 64, and I just didn't know. I didn't even know what happened to Sega. When you're younger, you don't even realize when companies are coming and going. You don't know what's going on. So anyways, that's what happened back then, and I'm happy I have it. It's a wonderful system. It's a really unique, and I'll always keep it close to me. It's a part of my collection. And yeah, it's just a simple setup, just with the stand and the TV, and And here is D2, which is a wonderful game, and that haunting music and that snow. Anyways, like and subscribe. I hope you like these videos. Thank you.